Hey, before we get started in this episode, go ahead and follow, like, and share. If you've been impacted by this podcast or you feel like you can relate at all, maybe there's somebody out there that might be able to as well. So go ahead and like, follow, share, get the word out there, and thank you for being a part of Catch My Six. Mental health is a big thing and we all struggle with it. If anybody says they don't, it's either because they've gone through it before or they're lying. Progression, not regression. Be better than you were yesterday, and you will always be in a state of progression if you live that way. Dude, Thanksgiving weekend. Man, golly, what did I do this weekend? It was kind of a lot of nothing, really. I started out with, well, first of all, let's talk about the elephant in the room. What a different Thanksgiving it was in 2020, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, we had family that wanted to come out that was unable to come out. We had friends that wanted to come out that was unable to come out. There was actually a curfew placed in the city that we live in for the entire weekend, trying to restrict the amount of out of town travel. So, yeah, like that's just blows my mind. I've never experienced that. I mean, obviously you've experienced your parents putting curfews, but an entire city saying, "Hey, be indoors between these hours." It was crazy. But besides that, I mean, we just kind of hung out with the family here, me, the wife, and the kids. And on Thursday, Thanksgiving, we had a big old meal. And the rest of the weekend, we literally just hung out, played video games, and did a lot of nothing, which I'll get into in a minute. What'd you do, Tim?
So I was lucky enough that I was able to go visit my family. I live close enough that they were within my travel range, so I was able to drive out to them. And our tradition over the last couple of years has been I smoke turkeys for the Thanksgiving dinner. So like we don't have traditionally cooked oven turkeys anymore. I get to be up the entire night before Thanksgiving and sit out in my yard or well not outside, it's too cold, but I sit up all night and just like drink some beers and smoke a turkey until it's done, and then the family wakes up and we drive out to my parents' house. And so I got to do that this year. My brother and his fiance were able to come as well, and so we had a full house of 11 people, which was one more than we're allowed to. But nobody,
Uh-oh.
but I'm not going to say anything about that. So I'd smoked two turkeys the night before Thanksgiving. They finished at like 3 in the morning, so I got like a short nap before we had to drive out to my parents' house. So it wasn't too much different of a Thanksgiving than it was for most people. I know a lot of people I work with were unable to go home for were able to go anywhere really. They're not really everywhere they wanted to go was further than 350 miles, so they all had to kind of stay home. But then at the same time, like you don't want to just have Thanksgiving with people you work with, like you want Thanksgiving with your family. So they all kind of did their own things in smaller groups. But I was blessed. I was definitely blessed with the fact that I could have a pretty standard Thanksgiving, maybe a little non-standard because of the whole coronavirus thing. But other than that, I mean, was a pretty good Thanksgiving. I had a lot of fun. It was a good dinner. Everything was tasty.
This Thanksgiving not only was coronavirus just awkward, but this is the first year that we've had to do Thanksgiving and Christmas when it comes without a turkey because we found out my daughter is really allergic to turkey.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of sucks.
Yeah, and we found that out this year. So literally in 2020, here we are with coronavirus and a turkey allergy. So shoot,
I didn't even know that was something you could be allergic to. That's wild.
yeah, it's so she can have chicken, but not turkey. So yeah, I don't know. So we actually just cooked what is it? Beef shoulder. That's what it is, like a pot roast.
Oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice.
So we threw it in the instant pot, and one of our
Oh, I saw your Instagram.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the instant pots broke, so our big one broke, so we had to use the small one. But the small one wouldn't pressurize, although like the pressure indicator was reading that it was pressurized. But like while it was counting, I could literally take on and off the lid. And so yeah, so like there was no it was so I couldn't use either one of my pressure cookers, so I had to use a slow cooker, which I found out after trying to cook this thing for about 20 minutes. So finally put it in the slow cooker on high, and that took another 3 or 4 hours for it to finally be cooked. So
Oh
what
yeah, but I mean, but slow cooker when you get what's that called?
a
Uh,
shoulder
no, the thing that you slow cook
crock
in
pot?
the crock pot. Yeah, crock pot meals are still delicious.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. But when you're planning a meal for like 1 o'clock, so you can have the rest of the day just veg, and then it turns into like a 7 o'clock meal. Yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah,
yeah,
fair. Yeah,
throws a wrench in the plans. So, but other than that, man, it was honestly a really good Thanksgiving. It wasn't that bad. We do a lot of really different cooking style because my daughter is so allergic to everything. So she can't have any tree nuts. She can't have any dairy. She can't have gluten. Like she's legit allergic to gluten. She can't have yeast. She can't have turkey. She can't have pork. Like she can literally have chicken, beef, rice, potatoes, vegetables, and fruit. That's it. So like the healthiest kid on the planet you know by her
and
own luck.
I'm sure she loves eating those
Oh
things
yeah,
too. Those definitely sound like things a child wants to eat.
was she's weird. She'll if I serve broccoli, she will want broccoli. She will demand that I put broccoli on her plate, and it's like,
Your child's an alien.
yeah, I don't get it. But I mean, I love broccoli, so maybe it runs in the genes. I don't know. But yeah, so she's pretty much allergic to everything. So like usually when you substitute milk, you'll substitute it for like almond milk, but she can't have almond milk. She can't even have like coconut milk. So we have to go with like oat milk, or what we actually buy at the store is banana milk. And dude, it's amazing. Banana milk is like, I mean, but it's so expensive. It is so expensive. So, but it's really good. And so we bake with that, and it's actually really good because a lot of people substitute bananas anyways as like a filling into the baking. So when you use banana
Yeah.
milk, it's really good. And believe it or not, she can't have eggs either. So in order to substitute eggs, a lot of people use flaxseed. Well, she can't eat flax either. So like all the substitutes, I have to like find a substitute for. And so believe it or not, for eggs, I use carbonated water, and it is wonderful because it provides like the aeration within the dough, within like the baking, and it causes like the fluffiness, and so it's really good.
That's interesting.
Dude,
That's
yeah.
like
So
I've never heard. You're blowing my mind right now with all this stuff.
yeah, so I baked brownies this weekend, and I used rice flour with syrup as a sweetener, and banana milk, carbonated water, and baking soda, I think, or was it baking powder? I think it was baking powder, but that's it. So like, there's literally, I mean, if you're allergic to bananas, I guess like you might be allergic to, but there's no allergens in it. There's no tree nuts. There's no dairy. There's nothing in it. And so my wife actually made a cake that is phenomenal. It tastes just like cake. I took it into work and nobody knew like it was a different cake. But she calls it her no nothing cake because it literally has nothing, no allergy, anything in it. It's made with dang near nothing. She even uses applesauce as part of the baking process, which is, yeah, I've been mind blown with this whole thing. So yeah, so our turkey day was definitely unique. My wife and I are actually thinking about putting a cookbook together that goes through all of these like recipes that we've had to construct. Like I even have a pancake recipe that is literally rice flour, banana milk, carbonated water, and syrup, and some baking soda, because baking soda makes it go flat. Baking powder makes it puff up, I think, or I might have those backwards. But
I can't remember. I like there's so many recipes that call for both. So like,
yeah,
I don't like.
yeah. So, but I have like we have tons of recipes that I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that can probably benefit from. But eating this way has helped my daughter's skin tremendously, and her attitude too. But yes, it's been fantastic. But all in all, it's just been a very different Thanksgiving. We've had to cook differently, bake differently. Couldn't have family, but because of all that, it's also been a lot less stressful. Just so much less stress this year because we haven't had anyone to please or anyone to try and impress, or you know the process. You get
Oh yeah,
family
oh yeah.
over and it's like, oh, is this turkey too dry, or oh, is this cake gonna come out fine, or what are the parents gonna think about my kids running crazy after all the sugar, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and
So
then you get all the you just get social fatigue, and
yeah.
after being in someone's house for like 12 hours of trying to host, like they've been at your house for like 12 hours and you're trying to host them, you're just like, the last thing I want to do is talk to you anymore. Can you just leave?
Yeah, the
Like
food's done, just shove it in your mouth and stop talking.
yeah, go pass out on the couch. The football's on.
Yeah, exactly, man. But yeah, Thanksgiving was actually pretty peaceful this year. It wasn't too bad. But after that, we had 3 days. And like I said, man, we played video games all weekend. And I know in my first episode, I talked about how it was a major like addiction for me. And I had to stop playing for a while. But um, honestly, man, it it was really it was really shocking to me these past 3 days because I was able to play video games without feeling like a dire like connection, like a need to finish almost. You know what I mean? Like obviously we have 4 kids, so when the wife would call me and say, "Hey, I need your help," I was able to put the controller down in the middle of a game. Like I'd be in the middle of a match, like ready to score a point, and I just put the controller down. And being able to disconnect myself from the game that way was shocking to me, to just kind of show me how much I've grown over the past, few months to a year. So it was really crazy. Not to mention I have my kids in here playing too. So
Yeah, that sounds like a level of discipline that you yourself have developed in the course of your progress over the last year. That's not something you just wake up with one day and you're like, hey, you know what? A video game isn't going to have that kind of hold on me anymore. That definitely sounds like just some discipline that you've developed over the long period of time of you trying to better yourself, which is good. I mean, that's good. That's progress, right? Everybody needs that. Because video games can be rewarding in a positive way, but they can also be detrimental in a long term kind of way if you let them do that to you. It's like anything else. Like everything is in moderation. You can't be 100% involved in everything because it's going to take a drain on your life. Like you have to do everything in moderation. You can't expect to be fulfilled, or you just can't do stuff more than you should. I don't know how to say it. Like just
no,
everything in
yeah,
moderation.
I get exactly what you're saying. So there's a lot that you just said. Discipline, 100%. That is a major one that I've had to learn, is discipline, because sometimes you either don't want to do something, or you want to, I guess do something else rather. So like I want to play video games instead of clean the kitchen. Like I know I have the kitchen to clean. I know I have the kids to take care of, but I want to go play video games right now. You don't need to, but you tell yourself that you deserve it, or you justify it in whatever way, and you go and you play video games. Or maybe it's eating food, like, oh, I've earned this cookie or this brownie, and you're like 12 brownies in. You know what I mean? Like you have to find that discipline to stop yourself and say, like, enough's enough. And the one thing that's helped me do that, which is another thing I heard you say, is prioritize. So you got to find like really where the priority lies. And so I put priority on my family and on my faith. So when I was really struggling, I was forced into a part of my mind where I was able to think, okay, right now when I'm at my lowest, what matters most to me? And I will tell you, this video game didn't matter a cinch. Like I did not care whatsoever about my score, about even if I should play. Like I didn't care. What I cared about was getting closer to God with my faith, and getting closer to my family, and being a better father and better husband. And so that was when I realized, hey, like my foundation, my priority lies with family and faith. And so anything outside that doesn't matter. Doesn't mean it's not important. It just has a much lower priority. So with
Yeah, it's just like like not everything can be priority one. Like
exactly,
if everything was priority one, by definition nothing is priority one because everything is there.
yeah,
So you have to prioritize, and it's not because other things aren't worth it. They just, for your own mental sake, they're just not as high on that list.
right. And I guess so. One thing the one way is explained to me, and I've heard it explained to my wife as well from her leadership as well, is that you know some things can bounce and some things will break. You've got to determine what can bounce and what will break. And basically, what will break, you've got to handle in the moment. Whatever can bounce, you let go and you deal with it later. You know what I mean? And
Oh yeah, that's a really good analogy. I like that.
yeah, so when it was explained to me, I thought the same thing. I was like, dang, that's actually really cool. Because, even with work, family, whatever it is, self improvement too. You get so caught up in like, I need to do this, I need to do that, I got this to do, I got that to do. And you've got to be able to pull yourself back and say, okay, wait a minute, wait a minute. Like, do I need to read more books? Yeah, I do. But what's important right now? Okay, I got kids that need me. I got, a wife that needs my help. I have a relationship with God that I have not prayed to or prayed about or done any Bible study. Like I have stuff that I need to do now for my sanity. Reading more books is important, but that can wait a little bit because I have to center myself. You know what I mean? So it's yeah, it 100%. And that even like you could apply that to work, and that's actually where I got the concept from. I just applied it everywhere else is from work. Like sometimes with work you get all these requirements from leadership. Like, hey, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, and so on and so forth. Next thing you know, you have a plate of like 5 different things that everyone wants done right now, but you cannot get done without sacrificing something. And at the end of the day, you have to realize like what's my foundation? What is my priority? Is my family my priority? Is my work my priority? Work is a big priority because if you don't get paid, you don't put food on the table. I get that. But at the end of the day, is your family forever or is work forever? Work's not forever. That's why people work to retirement because there's an end to work, right? And so
Yeah.
you have to identify what at work is like, okay, the captain or, higher leadership, if you're not military, gave me this and they want it done now. I have 3 things that I told myself I was going to get done today, but I can push to tomorrow. So those 3 things are going to tomorrow. I'm going to focus on that one thing that the captain or whoever your leadership is gave me, and I'm going to handle that today because I know that needs to get done. And you've got to be able to just let it go. You know what I mean? Don't beat yourself up about it because you have to make those calls. And yeah, that's helped me out tremendously.
And that just goes back to video games, like, right? So like everybody needs an outlet, everybody needs an escape, and like it's not an escape in the sense of like, oh, I can't stand this reality, I don't want to be here anymore. It's everybody needs something for their brain that helps them just like turn off the spots that they've been using to think all day and stress about all day and do something else. And whether that's video games, whether that's meditation, whether that's yoga, whether that's reading a book, whether that's mountain biking, everybody needs something, right? But you can't be expected to do the one thing all the time, right? If all you're going to do is play video games, there's going to be a point in time where those video games no longer give you that sense of satisfaction and that sense of recovery when you're done with those video games, which means you're going to have to continue to play them longer and continue to play them more. And it's going to be a vicious cycle of like, you're going to play them more, they're not going to be as rewarding, you're not going to feel as refreshed afterwards. So you have to even all that stuff out by going around and doing other things as well, right? Like I love mountain biking, I love woodworking, I love cooking, I love playing video games. If I just do one of those things, that one thing is going to become boring and monotonous and I'm not going to do it anymore. So you have to break everything up with other things. So yeah, you may have spent 3 days playing video games, but before you spent 3 days playing video games, you had probably 2 very stressful days, or well, no, you even said that, like, but you had 2 days with family doing Thanksgiving stuff. They may not have been stressful days, but they were still socially demanding. Even though that wasn't stressful, you were still being demanded upon socially to like hang out with your family and do stuff that was like what you were trying to do, which isn't a big deal, but like you still needed recovery from that. And then, but I've been like, when was the last time you played video games besides this weekend? Probably like a week, 2 weeks ago. Like,
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a long time.
Yeah, so like 3 days on binge isn't anything compared to like a month without games.
Yeah, and no, you're 100% right. I would actually kind of break those up into different categories. So like meditation, reading books, all those things. That's direct self improvement, and then like video games, cooking, like those like passive self improvement. I don't know if that's like the actual terms, but that's how I'm going to classify them because like you need hobbies, right? If you put yourself in a mental state of just self-improvement where you're just reading leadership books, you're just reading self-improvement books, you're just listening to self-improvement podcasts, you're just, in that mindset, then you're going to get burnt out because that requires mental strain. You're changing your mental status into a realm that you want it to be into, which is great. But if you stay there too long, you're working yourself too hard. You need a place to go. And through that, like for me, it's cooking. I also love woodworking and gaming as well. But for me, like number one is cooking. I love to cook. I just love to cook. And so I love going into the kitchen and baking brownies. Like, when I cooked for
Oh,
Thanksgiving.
Okay, we're about that argument. All right, there's cooking and there's baking. They're
Okay.
not the same thing.
Yeah.
They're not the same thing. I love cooking. I will not bake.
Okay, no,
I
you're right.
cannot bake.
You are 100% right. Those are two totally different things. I love to cook. Like I love doing steaks. I love cooking burgers. I love trying like new seasonings on food. Just I love experimental cooking. Even before my daughter wasn't allowed to have a lot of things, I loved experimenting with all different kinds of flavors and just seeing how it would taste, trying different ingredients with each other, whatever it is. And I just loved it. And you're 100% baking is completely different, but it's a place that I've never been good at. And so tying that back into self improvement, like I wanted to get better at baking, and so I love brownies, dude. Like I've had a problem with eating brownies for as long as I can remember. When I was a kid, my uncle Larry used to take us to 7-Eleven every Monday. Yeah, every Monday. He would choose a different kid to take, but when it was my turn to go, I would get a brownie from 7-Eleven every single time without fail because I love brownies. And I'm, now, God, I don't even know how many years later, and I'm still the same way. I just love brownies, but I've never been good at baking. And so I literally,
Baking's hard.
yeah,
Baking's
but I
hard.
forced myself into that realm to get better, you know? And so that's what I mean is like that's also self-improvement is finding something that you love to do. For me, it's cooking. Baking is a part of the cooking realm. Is it different? Yes, but I've never been good at it. So instead of continuing to cook that I know I'm good at, I'm going to try baking and improve my skills there. You know what I mean? And for you, if it's woodworking, maybe you're really good at building stuff with 2x4s and maybe 2x6s, but maybe you're not so good at using like fine wood, or maybe wood burning, or different styles of stains, or different like top coats. Like you're not good at those, and dabbling in that and getting better with those things, like that's also self-improvement.
Yeah, because those are goals that are set, and then you achieve those goals, and you have that sense of accomplishment that's going to make you feel better about what you're doing, and and it's the same thing with video games. You can have those senses accomplished with video games, but it just goes back to the whole like if all you did was that, you're going to get stagnant at one point. You need other things in your life besides just one type of hobby, whether that hobby is woodworking, whether that hobby is mountain biking, whether it's video games. You can't get by in life with just that one hobby.
I actually
I guess what I'm trying
disagree.
to say.
I actually,
Really?
yeah, I disagree. I think so. Like, I've dabbled in a lot of hobbies. I love woodworking, but it requires a lot out of me because when I do woodwork, I'm not a very patient guy. I'm not. When I play Call of Duty, I'm the Rambo guy. When I play Rocket League, I am like going for the ball. I've had to
You're
learn.
the ball chaser.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
you're
no,
the
no.
ball
Okay,
chaser.
wait. Okay, I was the ball chaser, but I have learned to not be. Okay, back off. And but with like woodworking, I've had to be patient because if you jump into woodworking, you're just like forcing cuts and you're pushing through the like you're going to make mistakes. The measurements are going to be wrong, and then you're going to get to the end product. It's going to look awful, and you're just going to hate it. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah,
I've
yeah, yeah.
had to be
Woodworking
patient. you
Yeah,
know?
it takes days. Days.
Exactly.
It took me a week to make my desk. And if you look at the desk, you're gonna be like, "This took you a week?" And I'm gonna be like,
Wow.
"Yeah, it took me a
Luther.
week." I worked on that desk 2 hours a day for 7 days.
Golly. Well, no, I actually don't blame you because I'm still working on a table project, an epoxy project, because I need more epoxy. But it's my first epoxy project. I'm not doing terrible, but it's not going as well as I thought it would. But that's with most projects. But getting back to my point, right? So I love woodworking, but I don't want to dedicate that much time to woodworking, right? And that comes back to the priority thing. Like, what are you willing to sacrifice time for, right? And I'm not willing to put that much time towards woodworking. So I've kind of pushed it aside. I don't really like if the wife needs me to build something, I can build it, no problem. I'll watch YouTube, whatever. But that's not what I want to do. Video games, I love video games, but it's not what I want to do. Cooking, I can cook all day. It is something that I can do with my family. It's something that I can get my kids on. Like my kids go into the spice drawer and can get exactly what my common seasonings are: salt, pepper, garlic, some paprika, and maybe a dash of this tiki masala seasoning that I have.
Ooh,
Uh,
tiki. Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
So,
nice.
but
That sounds
so
good.
it's actually not tiki masala. It's a masala seasoning that I tried. Oh God, it's phenomenal. It has cinnamon in it. But anyways, but that's besides the point. It's so good. It's so good. But they get like that's something that I could put my time into, but also teach them because they want to be there with me. Video games, they want to be here with me too. But for me, it's not something that I want to put all my time into. Cooking, I could do it all day. I could do it with my family. Like that is my one hobby. I love mountain biking, but I don't have a mountain bike because I don't really want to go out and get a mountain bike. I love dirt bike riding. I actually grew up dirt bike riding, but
Oh, I
I
know.
don't
Oh, I know.
I don't have a dirt bike in my garage. Like it's not, you know what I mean? Like I have one hobby that I can focus on. I literally cook every day, every dinner. I would cook lunch if I could. I get breakfast done every morning. Like I am the guy who cooks. I love cooking. Period. And so I believe 100% you can have one hobby, but I do also agree with you in the fact that you cannot focus all your time in that hobby.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we're agreed on the same point. I wasn't like when I said you couldn't have just one hobby. I wasn't talking about like I would go to work, prioritize everything I had, and have my hobby every now and then. Like I was talking about, I would go to work, come home, and only do my hobby like that. Yeah, I was talking about overly motivate, like in a negative sense.
Overindulge yourself.
Yeah, overindulging in that one hobby. That's what I was trying to talk about. Yeah, not necessarily just having one hobby, but like being too gung ho in that one hobby is going to have more detrimental effects in my mind because you're going to become obsessed,
Yeah.
and that obsession is going to lead to negative outcomes.
Yeah, I 100% agree. But like you've said, actually, is like putting too much time into anything. It can be detrimental, except for those foundational things, right? If I sat in my room all day and all I did was pray all day, to me and my family, because that's something that we believe in as a whole, that would be beneficial. My other core is my family. If I spent all my time with my family, that would be beneficial. But you also need time to yourself, right? But not too much time to yourself. So yeah, you have to definitely spread it out. And I think I actually contradicted myself there a little bit. But you have to spread your time out because you're limited time. Like money, you can always earn more money. You can't earn no more time. Like when that's gone,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, you
gone.
can't earn more time. Yeah, and you still need that recovery. You still need that recentering, and however you get to that recenter is up to you. But everybody still needs that. Like you can't be expected to go hard in the paint all day every day. You can't be expected to do that. Like you need to be able to have that time to relax, that time to
Balance.
recenter your thoughts, balance everything out.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's so good. Balance. Yeah, we need balance between all things. So I think that's so important, especially as a podcast, as we talk about personal growth. Is you can't, and I will be the first one to say you cannot force yourself into a self improvement mindset for too long. Like personal growth is great, but you need to space it out over time. If you realize that you need to do personal growth and you say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to go to the gym for 3 hours, I'm going to read 10 pages of a book, I'm going to, you're going to burn yourself out too quick. If fitness is something that you want to get into, and I highly encourage it for everybody, start with a walk around the block every day. Start with, a morning, like half-mile run, or run around the block real quick. Whatever it is, start small. And then as you start acclimating to it, do more. Reading's the same way, listening to podcasts. If you go and follow like 10 different podcasts, you're going to get burnt out. Find one that you like, start following that. Yeah. Catch my six. But if you find a podcast, start with one and just listen to a few podcasts, audiobooks, whatever it is. Start small, 1 page a day, a half hour a day for listening to something, the drive home, that run around the block that you want to start doing, listen to a podcast, catch my six, and, just listen, small, start small, and then let that grow into something else. But, along with that, like I said, self-growth isn't just in the realm of personal growth, novels, concepts, so on. Like, you have find a hobby that makes you happy, because as you are happy with your hobby, as you're happy doing something, that will cause you to be happy around, like with the people around you, affecting your community of people, whether that's the people inside your home, the people at work, whatever it is. You're going to start affecting people positively every single day by just doing something you like to do. And whether that's cooking, playing video games, heck, if reading a book is something you like to do, like whatever that is, just do what you like to do. Find something you like to do along with these self-improvement concepts as well, so that you have an overall balance of self-improvement, not just forcing yourself into a mindset of change. You know what I mean? Because then you're just going to stress yourself out. Find something you like to do.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I knew I liked mountain biking, but I never knew how much I was going to continue to like mountain biking. Like, it was something I've done before a little bit and had a little bit of fun with, and then all of a sudden it's just like, I love it. Like, that's my thing. And if you would have asked me that 5 years ago, I'd have been like, mountain biking, nah, probably I'm not going to like that too much. But I love it. I love mountain biking. So don't be afraid to go out and try to find something. Like, just try to find that hobby. You may be surprised what that hobby ends up being that you really enjoy and want to go. It could be pottery. It could be knitting. I've known guys that knit. There's nothing wrong with doing yarn and crocheting and all those kind of things. Just anything that you find rewarding and that helps you recenter and helps you and that makes you enjoy your spare time. Just anything like that.
Definitely experiment. You don't know what you're going to like until you try it. Like, try a million things. You know what I mean? Just try a million things. It doesn't even matter. Life is short, but at the same time, if you think about how long the average life is, you've got some time on this earth. Just do stuff. You know what I mean? Just do it, So who was that was on YouTube yelling that? What actor was it?
Shia LaBeouf.
Do it.
Shia LaBeouf.
Just do it. So anyway,
don't let your dreams be dreams.
Exactly, man. Just get out there and try it. You don't know what you're gonna like until you try it. But I think that's it for today's podcast, man. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds just nice little short touching base with everybody. Long 4-day weekend. Just a little bit late on the podcast, but I hope y'all forgive us for that.
Yeah, it was a wonderful 4-day for us. I hope you guys had some time off as well, whether that be a couple of hours or 4 days, or heck, if it's a couple of weeks, good on you. But I hope you guys had a good, solid time home over the holidays. And, thanks for coming. Thanks for listening again this week. We're so proud of you for coming and pushing that play button. Always progression, never regression, okay? And that's including hobbies. Find a hobby you like to do, okay? Be better than you were yesterday, and you'll always be in a state of progression if you live that way. So we'll see you guys later.